Hello students of class 7. Today we will be starting with the chapter fiber to fabric. Already you have some idea about the fiber to fabric. We have already done this in class 6. Now this chapter will deal with in details of other fibers like wool and silk. So let's recall what is fiber. Fiber is what? The basic material by which we make what? Clothes. So the materials, the thread-like structures that is used for making the clothes is called what? Fibers. And when these fibers are converted into yarns, do you remember yarns? Yes. So the yarns are what? The fibers are converted into yarns, and clothing material or the whatever fabric we want to make is made from what? The yarns. And different types of fabrics are used for making different types of items like cotton shirt. So what will be used for making cotton shirt? That is what? Cotton fiber. So different types of fibers are used to make different types of what? Fabrics. Okay. So I think all of you remember this, whatever you have studied in class 6. So let us see in class 7 what we have is wool. So what is wool? You all know that wool is the animal fiber, right? So wool is the animal fiber. Why? Because it is obtained from different animals like sheep, camels, goats, like this. Okay. And what is this wool? This wool is actually what? This is the thick hair that is present on the external part of the body that keeps the animal warm. So the thick hairs that is present on the outer part of the body of an animal to keep the body warm is called the wool. So what happens? Air gets inside the hairs and then it does not allow the body heat to escape outside. Okay, that is why the woolens are used for keeping ourselves warm during the cold winter months, because air gets trapped inside the fibers and it does not allow the body heat to go outside. That is why we use what? Wool. So from which animals we will get wool? Like first of all we'll study about what? Sheep. Okay, so we get wool from the sheep, and there are two types of fibers actually in the wool. One is the coarse beard hair and another one is the soft under hair. Okay, and the soft under hair only is used as what? For the wool, for making wool, so that from wool we can get the woolen sweaters. So the fine hair is used, the under hair, which is found close to the skin. This under hair is found where? Close to the skin. This is used for making what? Wool. Okay, so we will not use this coarse beard hair which is in the outer part, but the under hair closest to the skin will be used as the fibers, that is wool, for making the sweaters, because this is a fine wool and this is very soft. So this is used. Now different places in the world have different types of sheep, and the different types of sheep will supply with different types of wool. This will vary in their shine, also in their length, and also the strength, durability. All the sheeps will give wool, but different there will be of different categories. And the finest wool is obtained from the merino sheep. This is bred in Spain. So this merino sheep will give the finest wool, which is very soft and very light, and this is used for making finest woolen clothes. Okay, so merino sheep found in Spain is very good. It will supply what? The finest wool, which is very very soft and very light. So the best quality woolen materials are made from which sheep? Merino sheep. We will be talking about the rearing of the sheep. You all know that sheep are what? Herbivores. So they will eat mainly grass and leaves, because they are herbivores. So what they will eat? They will eat the plants, the grass and leaves, and also pulses like jowar, corn, bajra. So many pulses, jowar, bajra, grass, leaves, all the plant products they can eat. Okay. In India, sheep is cultivated or reared in the hilly regions like Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat. In the hilly areas of India, this sheep are cultivated. All around the world, sheep is cultivated in Australia, Asia, Middle East, South, that is Russia, Ireland, Southern. Around the world, sheep is reared in Australia, Asia, Middle East, and in the colder regions of Europe, Ireland, Southern, South America. Okay, so these are the regions where sheep is being reared. Wool that we get from other animals like camel, goat, rabbits, like this. So from the camel we take the undercoat, as in sheep, and this type of wool are soft and lustrous and also very bright and shiny. And the best camel, the two-horned camels, which is called the Bactrian camel, which is found in Siberia, Mongolia and China, they give the best quality wool. This Bactrian camel, this two-horned camel found in China, give the best quality wool. Okay, this is also found in Siberia and also Mongolia. Along with this, alpaca and llama camels also give good quality wool, which is very soft and lustrous, and they are also very light. So all these three camel, that is Bactrian camel, alpaca, llama, give wool for use. Now for the goat, this Kashmiri goat of Asia, and this type of wool is very warm and soft, obtained from this Kashmiri goat. I have studied about Kashmiri goat. Now this Angora goat, which is found in the capital of Turkey, which is now known as Ankara, but previously it was known as Angora. So this goat is obtained from there, and it gives the fiber which is called the mohair. One type of fiber that the fur of the Angora goat give is the mohair, which is very light, which is warm, which is smooth, and which is very durable. So this is similar to wool in chemical composition, very similar to wool, but it is very smooth. Okay, in comparison to wool, this fiber mohair is very smooth and durable also. So these are used for making very soft sweater or any covering for the furnitures. Okay, the wool from the Angora goat gives what? The fibers, which is the mohair, which is similar to wool in the composition, but much more smooth than the wool, and it's also durable, very light. So it is used for making very soft sweaters. Okay. And then the Angora rabbit, which gives what? Angora wool. This is also originally from the region, that is the Ankara region of Turkey, and this wool is also used for making different types of items like sweaters. Okay, so we get wool from sheep, we get wool from camel, we get wool from goat, and we get wool from the Angora rabbit too. So which type of fiber is obtained from the Angora goat? You have to say this mohair fiber, which is similar to wool in chemical composition, but it is a much smoother surface. Okay, then we come to the process of wool production. See, this is the process of wool production, under which the first process is the shearing. Shearing is the removal of woolen coat, or which is also called the fleece. So whichever animal we are selecting for taking the wool, like sheep, we have to remove the outer covering of the animal. Okay, so when we are removing the outer covering of the animal, that process is called what? The shearing. Okay, so we can use machines, we can use clippers, we can use razor blade for removing the fleece. And as when we cut our hair, then it does not hurt us. So similarly, if we are taking away the undercoat of the sheep, it does not hurt them also. So it can be just removed by the help of the blades or the slippers, and it can be done during the spring and summer months when the sheep can feel hot. Step is scouring. This is the washing of the sheared hair. We need to wash the hair because they are full of dirt and dust. So this washing is necessary to remove this type of oily things or the dust and dirt that is present in the hair. So the hair is washed properly. So this process of washing to remove the dust, dirt and any other particle is called what? Scouring. Okay. So this is how this is done by the help of the machines. Next is grading and sorting. In this process, the wool is sorted. How sorted? That means differentiated to find out they are grouped into categories, lengthwise, color-wise, texture-wise. These woolen fibers that we got from this shearing of these animals are sorted out. They are classified, they are grouped into categories according to the length. What is the length of the fiber, according to the color and also the texture, so that when coloring is done, it can be done very easily. So after shearing, then scoring, that is the cleaning, then number 3 step is grading or sorting, and then is the dyeing, that is the coloring. The colors are given or applied to the wool so that brightly colored sweaters and woolen garments are made from the wool. And then after coloring, then it is left for drying, because water has to be removed outside from the woolen fibers. So these after dyeing, the wool are put through the rollers so that rollers can squeeze out the water. They are given under pressure. The woolen fibers are kept under pressure through the rollers so that excess of water is squeezed outside as much as possible, and then these are packed into bales, and then they are transported to the mills where they are manufactured into sweaters or any other type of garments that is made up of wool. Okay, so first of all, what is done? Shearing, that is removing the wool, that is the fur from the animal body, and then scarring, that is the cleaning and with machine. Then according to their length, color and texture, it is sorted, then dyed with colors, and then is drying so that water can be removed, and easily the fibers can be made into bales, which are then transported for making the woolen clothes or any other material that is required. Okay, so I'll show you now from the book how to convert fleece to yarn. So what is fleece? Do you remember what is fleece? Fleece is what? The woolen coat of the animal. Whatever we are removing from the body of the animal is called what? Fleece. Now let us see the book and find out what are the steps. So as you can see, all of you open page number 42. Let us see this one. This is making of yarn. Okay, so let us see here what is happening. This is first stage. The sheep is taken and it is sheared to remove the fleece. Okay, the fur is removed from the body of the sheep. Okay, and then they are piled up and then they are taken for washing to remove the dirt and dust and grease, whatever is attached with the fleece. So this is now washed, and what is this process? This is called what? Scouring. So scouring is what? Washing to remove the dirt and dust. Okay, and then it is changed with sorted, and then it is used for coloring. So this stage is for dyeing. The fleece is dyed into different colors. Okay, after sorting out, they are dyed into different colors. Okay, and then they are dried. After drying, the fleece is baled. See, they are converted into fibers like this, and then the sheet is twisted into a rope called a sleever. Like this, the sheet is twisted. Okay, so now see what happens here. This is the fleece is baled for transport to the mill. So here baling is taking place. What happens? This sheet is twisted into a rope called the sleever. So slivering is done, and then here you can see carding machine combs the loose wool fibers into a sheet. So whenever you got this fibers, then carding machine is used. This carding machine will slowly comb. See here, comb like structures are present. So this will comb the loose wool fibers into a sheet. Okay, now this is converted, is twisted into a rope called the sleever, and then it is looking like this at last. Then what happened? The sleever is stitched and twisted into a yarn. See, now this is converted into a yarn. The yarn is wound to form balls of wool. See, this is yarn and this is wound to form the balls of wool. Wool is formed now. So which was the beginning phase? This one, shearing. Then these are the sheets. Okay, the fleeces are kept together and then washed, then dried, colored, and then dried, and again then what they are converted into bales, and bales are then rolled into the this is twisted into a rope called the sliver. Then the sliver is stretched and twisted to form the yarn. Okay, so this is the yarn that is formed, and this form the balls of wool. So this is the process to convert fleece to yarn. Okay. Now let us talk about the health hazard related to the wool industry. In earlier days, everyone, the workers who were working in the wool industry, they were infected by the bacteria because they were sorting the wool, they were washing them, then used in drying. This time what happened, they were infected with bacteria, and they were suffering from the disease which is called the anthrax disease. Okay, and now it is known as a sorter's disease. Okay, anthrax is also known as what? Sorter's disease. These bacteria were found in the fur or the fleece of the animals like sheep, which are contaminated, and when the workers who were working in the wool industry, they were working with this fleece, they were infected with the anthrax because this entered to the human body while they were breathing through the inhaled air. So now there are vaccinations for this anthrax, so there is no harm in working in the wool industry because people are vaccinated to fight against this disease which is called the sorter's disease or anthrax. Now let us discuss about the fiber that is called the silk. You all know that silk is obtained from where? Silkworm, and these are very soft and shiny. Yes or no? You all know about silk. Yes. This will be very easy for you to understand also. So let us see here the life cycle of a silk moth. What happens during the life cycle of silk moth? A female silk moth will lay about 300 to 400 eggs at a time. Then the eggs will hatch into caterpillars, or which we called as larvae. So this is the larval stage, and they feed on what? Mostly the muga silk that we get here. This type of larva will feed on the mulberry leaves. Okay. Now after feeding the silkworm, that is the larva, they have two glands. Okay, two glands on its head. So after feeding, they will start to produce what? Fine filaments. They will start to make fine filaments which are made up of proteins. Okay, so this larva have what? Two glands on their head, and they make what? The filaments. They will secrete the filaments which are made up of proteins, and these proteins will harden to form what? Silk, when they are exposed to air. When these filaments are exposed to air, when they come outside and they are exposed to air, they will form what? Silk. So slowly and slowly this larva will secrete these fine filaments, and they will deposit in the layers around the body. So from these two glands that is present in the head region, secretion of fine filaments will occur, which consists of protein, and then they will be deposited in layers around the body in a figure like 8. Okay, so they will look like what? They will look like 8. Here these layers will be deposited around the body in a pattern of 8, in a design of 8. Okay, so then what will happen? When they will form the design of 8 or the figure of 8, this will form a cocoon, and inside the cocoon there is what? The life, that is called the pupa. This is the second stage of the life, and this is called the pupa. So in between this secretion of filaments and depositing the layers around the body, it will take about 3 to 7 days, and 20 to 39 layers are formed. Okay, 20 to 39 layers are formed around this pupa, which is like a figure 8. These are continuous layer of this single thread which is secreted by the two glands from the larva, and they are 20 to 39 layers, and they are deposited like figure 8 outside the body. Inside what there is a pupa, and then this pupa matures to form the adult. So where from we get the silk threads? We obtain or we get the silk threads from the cocoon of this silkworm, that is the larva. We get the silkworm from the cocoon. Okay. So I'll show you from the book the life cycle of the silk moth. As you can see in this picture, this is the life cycle of the moth. Here the moth lay eggs on the leaves. These eggs hatch into form larva. Larva then is changed to pupa inside the cocoon, and then this cocoon will give inside this pupa. Pupa develops into the adult moth. The larva, these are the eggs, this is the cocoon, and this is the adult moth. This way the cycle goes on. Okay, and this larva feeds on what? The mulberry leaves. Okay. Now we will discuss about sericulture. This is the scientific way of rearing the silkworm. See the term sericulture. That means rearing of silkworm. So what happens here? The healthiest moths are chosen for laying the eggs, and then after laying eggs, what happens? The eggs are washed. So first step is washing of eggs. After washing of eggs is done, then the eggs are left to hatch, and then the eggs will hatch at the springtime only once a year. Okay, the eggs will hatch only once a year, that is during the springtime. Okay, then the eggs will hatch to form larva, and they are fed on what? Mulberry leaves for 20 to 35 days. After they will continue to feed, and they will start to form cocoons, just now I told. And what they are releasing? They are secreting some filaments which are rich in protein, and this will cover the cocoon in various layers, and that process is called what? Spinning, and it will take about 3 to 7 days. After this, the cocoons are placed in hot water. What will happen when these cocoons are placed in hot water? Then the cocoons, inside the cocoons, what is their? Pupa. This will kill the worms, and then the filaments that were secreted by these larvae loosens. So the cocoons are kept in hot water for killing the worms, and also for loosening of the filaments. Then the filaments are taken out from the cocoons. What is this process? Reeling or filature. When the filaments are taken out by the process of reeling and filature, inside the worm is dead. Okay, and this process is called what? Reeling. The taking out of filament is called what? Reeling or filature. Then these filaments are twisted into strong threads. Then again this is wound on the reels. Then these are colored, and then these are woven into the silk fabric. Clear? So first of all, eggs will be laid, washed, and then the larvae is fed on the mulberry leaves. When they form cocoons, after 3 to 7 days, they are put in hot water so that the worms are dead, and then the filaments will loosen up. Then they will be removed by the process of reeling, then twisted, and then dyed, and then woven into the silk fabric. So different types of silk that we get is Tassar, Muga, Kosa silk. This is because that we get different types of silk. Why? Because they are fed on different types of plants. All these type of silkworms are given different plants, and so we get the various types of silk. Okay. Nowadays there are different types of silk, like artificial silk also, and it is very difficult to identify the artificial silk from the natural silk. And it is sold in the market in huge price, but people are cheating the common people. Okay, so the artificial silk can be easily identified. When you try to burn this artificial silk, it will smell like burnt paper. But if anyone tries to burn the natural silk, it will smell like burning of hair. So this is the difference and how to identify the artificial silk and the natural silk. Artificial silk, if you try to burn, it will smell like the paper. So you can easily identify that this is the artificial silk. Now let us talk about the health hazards of silk industry. Mainly the people are handling the worms, and so they are maybe they are exposed to more and more infection and illness, and they are dealing with the hot water, so they can have blisters and wound on the skin, because the cocoon has to be boiled or kept in hot water, so the workers can have blisters or wound on the skin by burning. People have to stand, the workers have to stand for long, for 12 to 16 hours, and for continuous standing there are so many defects in the body like backache, spine problem or vision problems, because for 12 to 16 hours if a person is standing and walking at a stretch, then this type of problems can arise. There can be respiratory problems also, because continuously the cocoons are put in the hot water, and the vapors from boiling the cocoons, also from the machine, the diesel comes out. These vapors may cause respiratory diseases like asthma and bronchitis, then have breathing problems. And also the noise of the machines, which is very common, spinning and winding machines, also the looms where the fabric is woven, from this noise there can be hearing disorders to the workers. Okay, these points are quite common, and you all can easily understand that while handling the dead worms, people can suffer from infection, and if some people put their hands in the hot water, they can get the blisters. Okay, standing will also cause problems like backache and vision problems too. So respiratory problems and hearing problems are always there to the workers in the different industries, including the silk industry. Okay, and which is the world's largest producer of silk? China. And which one is the second one? India is the second largest producer of silk. Okay, so what do you know about the discovery of silk? Silk production began where? In China, about 6,000 years ago. Okay, so first silk discovery was in China, and now the second world's largest producer is India. Okay, so I think all of you have understood this chapter. This is very easy. So once you go through the chapter and my video and try to correlate, this, and I think all of you can follow all the points. If you have not followed, they can easily call me in my WhatsApp number. You can message me also, so that you can clear your doubts. Okay, but first you go through the video, then you correlate with the chapter, whatever is written. I think it will be easier for you to study like this. Okay, thank you.